Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for March 16, 2022, the Privacy Police Edition. As reported in the New York Times, Exxon Soltani is the new head of the new online privacy agency in the state of California. And he needed help to launch the agency for the state, and indeed the first of its kind in the United States. It's literally inventing a state function for the state of California from the ground up. He faces a daunting task in overseeing the likes of Facebook, Google, Amazon, and others who use data from literally millions of people. The California Privacy Protection Agency will be a 30-person group with a $10 million budget to help enforce the state's privacy laws, the most stringent in the country. Obviously, everybody's going to be watching. Next up, from PsychToday, a most welcomed first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, a great research report on what kind of person can resist corruption. There were several key factors that were uncovered in this research. Number one, moral commitment refers to the values we hold dear, like integrity and our level of a trait known as honesty, humility. 2, people are less likely to act in a corrupt way if they are more committed to their moral values. 3, moral values are perceived as not for sale. People don't compromise them even in the face of financial incentives. This is obviously significant for everyone in the compliance space, and so I'd urge you to take a look at the article. Next up, Exxon loses its attempt to toss out a lawsuit brought by the states of Massachusetts and New York, probing whether the oil company lied to investors and the public regarding what it knew about climate change. So if this sounds familiar, I think you might think back to the tobacco litigation. In this case, the Second Circuit said that Exxon could not sue Massachusetts Attorney General in federal court because Exxon's pursuing its claim. It also said that Exxon's case against New York's AG was moot as well. Exxon had argued in its federal lawsuit but should have precedence because of viewpoint bias, which violated its constitutional right to free speech. Pretty outrageous argument, and they got tossed out of court. And finally, from the Wall Street Journal, Risk and Compliance Journal, Richard Vandeford reporting for a second day in a row, Swedbank AB said its Estonian unit has been named as a suspect in a massive Estonian money laundering matter. This is significant because Swedbank has previously been sanctioned for its faulty AML programs in the Baltic states, and now it looks like they at least are alleged to have done so again. So, and expect more money to try to be laundered through these corrupt business units. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.